June 2nd, 2015, regular meeting. I'd like to welcome you all here today and thank you for coming. First item on the agenda is approve the minutes of the May 26th, 2015 regular meeting.
Move the minutes, Mr. Chairman.
Second, Mr. Chairman. Have a motion is second. Any comments on the meeting? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Item 2 on the agenda, receive and place on file drainage repairs. We do have a couple today. Drainage District number 12, Webster 38 Calhoun Road, Township, Section 29. There's a broken pipe in the ditch turned in by Marlon Geisler. And Drainage District number 4 on the main, Colfax Township, Section 16, needs a surface drain, turns in by Webster.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion that we accept the drainage repairs.
I'll second that motion.
Motion is second on drainage repairs. Any comments on those? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Item 3 on the agenda, receive and place on file manure management plan updates as follows. Litchfield Realty Company, 1 in Section 33, Hardin Township. Litchfield Realty Company 2 in Section 35, Yale Township. Litchfield Realty Company 3 in Section 31, Webster Township. Litchfield Realty Company 4 in Section 27, Yale Township. Litchfield Realty Company 5 in Section 33, Yale Township. Litchfield Realty Company 6 in Section 31, Yale Township. And Litchfield Realty Company 7 in Section 35, Burnside Township.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we accept the manure management plan update as read.
I'll second his motion, Mr. Chairman.
Have a motion and a second. Any comments? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Item 4 on the agenda, receive and place on file manure management plan updates for East Finishers in Section 23, Freedom Township, Hamilton County, and Nursery Finishers in Section 18, Freedom Township, Hamilton County, and manure management plan for South Side, Alex Alliger in Section 3, Dawson Township, Green County.
Mr. Chairman, I move item 4.
I'll second the motion, Mr. Chairman.
Have a motion and a second. Any comment on that? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Keep it up to you, Mayor. Item 5 on this. Item 5 on the agenda, receive and place on file Region 5 Hazardous Materials Response Commission Auditor Report and Financial Statements for fiscal year ending June 30th, 2014.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
A motion is second. Any comment on the auditor report? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Item 6 on the agenda is approve a Class C beer permit application for Colville Stop and Shop effective July 22nd, 2015.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve beer permit.
Second the motion, Mr. Chairman.
Any comments from the sheriff on that? They're okay? Hearing none, all in favor? Opposed, motion carries. Item 7 on the agenda, discuss ragbri vendor permitting in the unincorporated area of Webster County. Merrill, you want to start on that, or you got some comments?
The local ragbri committee has requested us look at this, and some of the other counties, I understand, maybe have put ordinances in place. I know Fort Dodge did one for the city. Basically a permitting process for vendors if they want to sell food, beer, trinkets, whatever it happens to be, regulating that in the counties, what we'd be looking at. From my perspective, I don't think it's needed. We've talked to the sheriff and Randy from the road crew, and we have ordinances in place dealing with our right-of-ways, and people can't just set up, in the ditches or in our right-of-ways anyway. And if they do, the sheriff can, move them along. But I guess, to me, it'd be quite a process. We'd have to have Sheila or somebody do the permitting. I personally don't, from the number of people that are getting permits in Fort Dodge, where the main activity is, I don't think we'd be dealing with a lot of them, but it would be a hassle to permit them, in my opinion. And then the sheriff would have to have the resources to enforce the ordinance. And I think he's going to be busy just dealing with traffic and things that day. So that's what we're looking at. I guess it would be my personal opinion that it's not required for the county. They're gonna be moved along, my understanding from, the Highway Patrol and the sheriff, we're gonna move the bikers along. But also if, you know, if a young girl or boy or whoever wants to sell lemonade on their private acreage farm, I don't know that we should be restricting that. If the boys ranch wants to do something on their private land. So I guess I'm comfortable with the fact that we have ordinances that won't interrupt traffic or our problems, so that's my opinion.
Did you want to explain our ordinance, Randy, or it's just,
I can,
is it
yeah.
a short review of it, or what?
Yeah, prior to me, in the 2000, year 2000, thereabouts, Webster County did pass a real good ordinance number 28, which, basically it's an ordinance prohibiting the unauthorized use of secondary right-of-way without a permit. And there's very few things that are exempt, but a couple things that are exempt. If somebody wants to mow or harvest the right-of-way, they don't damage the vegetation or compromise our IRDM program, they can do that without a permit. And then it does say you can park on the shoulder for less than 2 hours, or you can put or have a disabled vehicle on the road for 24 hours. Otherwise, you work in the right of way, you got to get a permit. But I think the intent of this ordinance was for obstructions and so forth. That unauthorized use of the right of way, undesirable encroachments or obstructions. So technically, rag activities could be included in that, but I don't think I would look forward to, it doesn't mean that if they apply for a permit, they're gonna get approved either. You know, I've had some people like to fill the ditch in and make 1,000 miles of storm sewer in the county right away. I'm not totally against that, because that's not in the long-term best interest of the county. But, yeah, so that's the limits of this ordinance. Technically, if somebody said I wanted to operate a lemonade stand in the public right of way, I don't know, I don't think our permit is a no-fee permit too. But I don't know, I'm looking forward to filling out, I'll say, yeah, let's talk, why don't you put it behind the right of way line, and then you don't need a permit. And then, in the past, I don't know, Sheriff Tubbs can attest to this, wherever I've been, I've been through, it's must have been 6-8 times I've experienced ride coming through the county a couple times overnight. I don't know, I've never really had a problem. You just kind of do the best you can to repair it and allow it to happen, and pretty soon it's over with. So I don't know. I'm not. It's your call if you think you need to have a special ordinance like one for example, Buena Vista County. This all started, I think, Sheila got an email, and I was aware that BB had that. The one they have is already in place. I think what they're doing is tweaking the fees. But, if you'd have to, if you're going to pass some kind of ordinance, you'd have to get rolling. And then, for the reasons you pointed out, is it really necessary? And, so whatever.
And you brought up the Buena Vista one, and it really is apples to oranges to me, because they're not dealing with the right-of-ways here. Their ordinance is dealing with within 500 yards of the road. They're dictating private property restrictions. I mean, it specifically says that you have to give a permit if you're within 500 yards of the right route. No liquor, beer sales can be within 500 yards of the right route. So they're trying to control a vast area, not just the right of way too. So I think the Buena Vista ordinance is for another purpose. And there again, I just don't think it's needed.
Does anybody here see a need for an ordinance that would enhance public safety for Webster County?
I think Randy's covered it in chapter, or he said 28.
Ordinance number
28. It was covered, it was great for planning on his behalf, and I think he utilized tools we have in place.
So to reiterate, if you want to set up a lemonade stand or something in their front yard off the right of way, that's fine, but if anybody's on our right of way, they will be asked to move by the sheriff.
I think that one of the reasons for bringing this up, excuse me, is that as long as both the road crew and sheriff's department and verbally say they don't have a problem with it, they work through it without side of the road, starts creating a problem, hopefully we have people out there to take care of that problem. Done deal. It would probably be as hard to police, frankly, the permits and make sure everybody's doing what they're supposed to be doing. I suppose you could argue that once they leave a mess.
Yeah.
You know, maybe they have to track them down or something, I don't know.
Not to sound uncooperative, but if an individual or group of people make an application that's spelled out, required through the ordinance, to maybe, example would be sell lemonade in the right of way, I plan to deny it and ask to go down to, because when they bring it to your table, you gotta talk about safety and, we talk about public safety and traffic control, you're creating a safety hazard just outside the right of way line, and I think everybody's happy that way, so.
And I think that's what just needs to be the clarification is, we're just gonna stick by ordinance, we're not gonna allow that in our right of ways. But you can go talk to a private individual anytime or anywhere you want to. I think it's a response Sheila or anybody should get.
Any other questions on that?
I was gonna do this later, but I do wanna, since we're talking about Randy, and roads a lot, I do wanna thank him. The Right group came through yesterday, and my understanding is that they think Randy already has done an extremely good job of getting our roads ready. Right comes through, and they actually asked the county and the city to repair roads, fill cracks, fill holes, those kinds of things, and my understanding is that they were very happy with the county road portion of their ride. And I know Randy's been proactive in getting that done, so. So the county is, I'll just put a plug for the county is supporting Right with a lot of time, effort, and funds just on the roads and stuff for this. Thank you, Randy, for that.
Any other questions? Okay, moving on to item 8, approve and authorize chair to sign utility permit to Midland Power Cooperative to rebuild overhead electric transmission lines along the north side of 370th Street between Dakota and Easter Avenues, and along west side of Easter A Avenue between 370th Street and Highway 175 in Galveston Township.
Mr. Chairman, I move item 8.
Second, Mr. Chairman.
Motion and second, any comments on that?
No, everything's in order, unless you have any more questions.
Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Item 9 on the agenda, approve request from Brittany Kurd, race director for Bluff Creek Triathlon to bicycle on .05 mile of Route P70 from approximately 8 o'clock a.m. to 11 o'clock a.m. Saturday, July 18, 2015, as part of a swimming, biking, and running race originating at Don Williams County Park, and place on file certificate of insurance naming Webster County as the additional insured.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion we approve item number 9.
Second. Motion is second, any comment on that?
We've had this event before, not necessarily annually, and it has very minimal impact on Webster County, and they said that they were gonna work with the Webster County Sheriff to have a reserve officer at the turnaround spot.
Okay. All in favor by nine?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. It is 10:15, so I'll open the public hearing on final consideration of amendment 001, of ordinance number 051. Copies on amendment is on file in the governor's office. We received anything? Anybody with a comment from the county on this is the ATV ordinance? Pass it in the county.
I did receive one comment, but the gist of it was that there's illegal riding that continues along the river, and it's gonna continue regardless of what this ordinance has to say and do. You can't do your best to try to catch these guys, but
So we can have citizens' opportunity to address the board with items not on the agenda. Anybody from citizens want to say anything? I guess we can talk about the emergency. I've seen in the Des Moines Register that all the counties around us have been declaring an emergency declaration because of bird flu. We do have a case in Webster County, so I asked to us that emergency management guy to bring us in the declaration. We can talk about that.
As far as I know, we only have the one bird facility, which is up north, Spargo Farms. They have 3 buildings out of the 18 that have birds, 160,000 birds. 3 employees were affected in that process. USDA is in charge of the process. They were meeting this week to determine the routes and how they're going to get rid of the birds. Until I have that information, then I can bring that to you about that. I did talk to USDA about declaring the emergency. I think it'd just be in the best interest since every county around has done it. That way, if there's some federal funding down the road, or if there's some small producers that are affected, that there could be some funds out there from the federal government. So, any questions on any of it so far?
No, I would like to clarify, we've had a few phone calls, and our regional landfill is not taking birds. So, we've had some people call and say they've seen trucks coming through town. I want to clarify, we are not taking any sick birds or deceased birds at this time. And I know we've had a couple of conversations about taking ash from the incinerator company. I said we would work with them on that. And we provided wood chips for another company, but we are not taking sick or diseased birds.
So what am I supposed to do Sunday night supper?
Invite Bob over.
What I've included a copy of is what Wright County did. They wanted to be proactive, but again, they're talking millions of birds, 600 employees that they're dealing with up there. I don't think we have that, quite that. So you can kind of look through there and see how, if you want to do it, how to proceed, go forward with it, so.
So we can put this on the agenda for next week.
Yeah, I'd say, we need to do one. I'd maybe leave it to you that, Wright County maybe really went to a bigger extent because we don't have as much of a problem here. I think you definitely need to probably talk to Jen in her office about the ordinance so that it's worded properly, because it looks like we're declaring it for the cities and everybody, just make sure it's done right.
Okay.
But,
So we'll look into that.
Yep.
Anybody else from the citizens? Board of Supervisors Committee reports?
I have a couple updates on just some of the building processes that we've gone through. Again, the generator project is done, and all taken care of there. Good news on the last bill for filling the tank out here. The bill came in a little lower than we expected at $16,713. The state has agreed to give us a grant of $13,417. So it's going to only cost the county taxpayers a little over $3,000 to fill that tank. So that was good news, and that project will be completely done then. The bank entryways, if anybody goes over to the bank building, we have a few finishing touches on tiling and stuff over there, but that project turned out really nice. I think it'll take away a lot of the safety issues we had with slippery things and stuff over there, so that one's done. And just for the board, basically the air conditioning, final air conditioning unit for the basement of the LEC's being finalized over there. So real quick here, that will be all done until we put the one for the jail up in the fall. So hopefully kind of done, and traffic flow will be better through the alleys and everything else. The barricade has been asked, and they're in the works. Yeah. The contractor was going to check with the welding company about getting it done. I happen to have a connection with the welding company, so I warned them several weeks ago that they needed to get it done right away. So hopefully we get that done, and then we can move those projects.
Two things. I want to thank Christine and Scott for all the extra work you guys have done with the bird flu and meeting with, on the public health side, some of the employees and dealing with some of the issues there. And Scott, your extra work you're putting in on this this, appreciate it. The county is currently working in Lanyon, to deal with some water issues. We believe it's a broken tile. We've met with, neighboring landowners, and they are doing some discovery work, digging to find it, and the county's doing some jetting to clean out some tiles and see if there is, possible tree roots or collapse of a main. So if you see county workers down there and private contractors, that's what's going on down in Lanyon. And that's about all I got.
They are working on that intake today.
Okay.
County secondary road.
All right, and, I guess we will see everybody Saturday in the parade.
Yes, all the elected officials are gonna walk together. Most of them, about one.
Because you're running some guys.
I think we got the P-59 out in the shed that opened up last week.
P-63 was opened yesterday.
It's,
Yeah, it was, part of it was due to the project that we let, and then the other phase was due to National Gibson wanting to do a beefed up road crossing with extra thickness, extra reinforced, porches that kind of thing. It's a nice job.
is this the first time we've done that?
First time in the
Cement road?
Yeah, it's unique, well, not unique in the industry, but new to us, and I think it went very well.
I drove on it yesterday, I was riding on a carpet, I mean, I was amazed, I mean, you could feel every joint going down the road all year. They just put these new patches in there and redid it, you can't feel anything, I mean, it's smooth, I've been, comment, it's nice, it really is.
In the, in the near future, in the next 30, 60 days, I'm gonna remind, we'll do, the county employees will install some sub-drain tiles at a couple locations. Earlier this spring, we did note where there was some issues with poor drainage. And so we, basically the process that we will do it under traffic, and core the road out and backfill with porous material, that way the road bed will drain better. That was a part of this contract. We're going to do it on our own.
There's something that's new, it really,
A couple of things, last week, about 40 folks came from the University of Iowa and met with the community. I did hear back from one of their representatives who said as a result of the roundtable discussions and also the touring through our community, the group was not only impressed, but also went to work in looking toward or investigating the possibility of securing a grant for the Iowa Initiative for Community Development, and there'll be more on that as time goes along. I said that it's a statewide thing, but it's they have some sort of connection to create or design a program which might benefit Fort Dodge, so we'll see about that. And then secondly, Steve Hosel and I will be going next Monday afternoon to Council Bluffs, where there's a workshop in the afternoon, late afternoon. The next morning is the final approval of the roughly $290 million for the appropriation for the completion of Highway.
Webster County, Iowa, parcel number 1, Main Street East from the northwesterly extension of the easterly line of Lot 7 of Block 8 to the east line of Lot 1 of Block 6 and Lot 1 of Block 9, and the north half of Main Street lying north of Block 10, all in the town of Berlin, Iowa. Parcel number 2, 5th Street from the south line of Main Street to the north line of Fulton Avenue in the town of Berlin. Parcel number 3, 2nd Street north from the north line of parcel of Main Street to the westerly extension of the north line of the alley in Block 7 of the town of Berlin. Parcel number 4, the west 50 feet of the alley in Block 7 in the town of Berlin, and parcel number 5, the alley in Block 9 of the town of Berlin. Okay. Randy, you want to talk to this, or?
I can review things, I guess. I've got 2 minutes. Again, this has to do with some streets that were platted and opened. And back in May 15, 2001, the board at that time passed a resolution to do some of this road vacation, but that was subject to new cooperative granting an easement in favor of property, and that didn't get done at that time. Since that time, and that was back May 15, 2001, since that time, they have worked things out with all adjacent landowners, and they've been developing their properties and so forth, so we're finally getting this to bring this to a head. So on May 15th, you initiate this process again, and here we are today to
An opportunity to respond to the resolution.
Yes, and just so everybody knows, New Co-op is the neighboring property to all of these streets, and they actually all run through the middle of New Co-op's property. So that's what we're dealing with right now. So,
affecting anybody else but the control.
correct.
Is there any kind of a problem in terms of time with this action?
No, like Randy said, on May 5th, 2015 was when we did the resolution to start these proceedings, and then notice was provided with today's hearing date for the approval.
But the use of the land will come sometime in the future. Whether it's done this week or next week doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't.
Does it matter the new co-op is
Does it matter
good this week or next week?
No, that was just here in case anybody spoke up.
I see.
I'm going to quickly go through this is letting for 3 projects, replace failing bridges. We know the notice of bidders was advertised in the county newspapers and the DOT levy bulletin. And want to verify there's an acceptable form of proposal guarantee. Has to be a certified check, cashier's check, or bid bond. And the bid proposal form includes several bid items. I'm just going to read the total. And the projects are tied because they're close to each other. There's 2 projects south of Roland, less than a mile apart, and then the other project's about 8 miles from that. They're all the same size structures, 8x8 precast box culverts. And we'll add the amount of each project together, determine the parallel bidder, and then miles will check all the math work. So we'll start using that. And then on that sheet of paper I gave you is the back side's a summary where you choose to write down the bids. So I'm going to open